There is a kind of story that does not begin with a name or a date. It begins with a sound. A creak in the floorboards at 3 in the morning. A shifting beneath the mattress that you tell yourself is the house settling. A breath that is not yours, rising from below, warm and patient, and so close you could mistake it for your own. I am telling you this story because it is not a story. It is a file. And it has been open on my desk for longer than I am comfortable admitting. My name is Kia Voss. What follows is the file they titled, The Bride Beneath. I have changed the names. I have not changed anything else. The first report was filed in the winter of 1987 by a man named Daniel Chorba, 31 years old, recently divorced. He had moved into a basement apartment on Elgin Street. 1 bedroom, 1 window. A mattress on the floor because he had left the bed with her. He told the responding officer that he had been waking up at the same time every night. Not gradually, not drifting. He said it was like being pulled out of sleep by something that needed him to be conscious. His body would not move. Sleep paralysis. That is what the intake report says. But that is not what brought him to the station. What brought him was the hand. He said it came from the gap between the mattress and the wall. A woman's hand, pale, cold, dirt under the fingernails. It did not grab him, it did not pull. It rested on the sheet beside his arm, palm up, fingers slightly curled, the way someone offers their hand to a frightened animal. The first night, he screamed. The hand withdrew slowly, not startled, not rushed. It withdrew the way a tide goes out, like it had always intended to leave and was simply waiting for him to finish. The second night, it came back. Same time, same position, same open palm. He did not scream. By the 5th night, he told the officer something that made the officer stop writing. He said he had started to look forward to it. The officer filed the report under mental health apprehension, possible hallucination secondary to sleep disorder. The file was flagged for follow-up and placed in a stack of 30 others. No one followed up. Daniel Chorba stopped paying rent 3 months later. His landlord entered the apartment on March 9th. The mattress was still on the floor. The sheets were pulled tight, hospital corners. And on the pillow, in the center, sat a small pile of damp black soil, the kind that comes from deep underground, below the frost line, below the root systems, below anything that has business being inside an apartment. Daniel Chorba was never found. That apartment on Elgin Street has had 9 tenants in 37 years. None of them lasted more than 5 months. None of them left a forwarding address. In 6 of the 9 cases, the landlord found the same thing. A bed made with surgical precision, a pile of dirt on the pillow. And in 3 of those cases, a wedding band. Never the same ring, always old, always tarnished, always worn smooth by years of being on someone's finger. But the Elgin Street apartment is not where she lives. That is only where I first found her. She is much older than that building. She is much older than this city. And once I understood what I was looking at, I began finding her in files that go back centuries. The earliest account I have been able to verify is from 1847, a parish record from a village in the Carpathian Basin. The priest, Father Lajos Benedek, kept meticulous records of every baptism, marriage, and burial in his jurisdiction. In the autumn of that year, he recorded a wedding that did not happen. The entry reads, "On the 14th day of October, a marriage was to be solemnized between Erzabet Varadi, daughter of the miller, and Martin Sabo, son of the blacksmith. The bride arrived at the church in the red wedding clothes of her family's tradition. The groom did not arrive. He was found dead that morning in the river, drowned, though the water was only knee-deep. The priest recorded that Erzsébet stood at the altar for 3 hours. She did not weep. She did not leave. When the sun set and the women of the village came to take her home, she told them, "I will wait for him here. If not him, then the next one. If not the next one, then the one after." She was found the following morning in the churchyard. She had dug a hole beside the church wall with her bare hands. The hole was deep enough to lie in. She was lying in it, arms crossed, wearing her wedding clothes, covered in dirt. She was not breathing. They buried her where she lay. Father Benedek noted that her fingernails were black with soil and that her hands were positioned palm up, as if waiting for someone to take them. Within a year, the church was abandoned. Within 5 years, the village was empty. Father Benedek's final entry, dated 1852, reads, "The young men are leaving. They say they cannot sleep. They say something is under their beds and it wants to hold their hand. I am old and I sleep alone and nothing comes for me. Perhaps that is worse." I found her in 5 more files across the next century. Each one follows the same pattern. 1903, a boarding house in Vienna. A widower named Karl Schreiber complained to his landlady that a woman in a wedding dress was living under his bed. He was gone within the month. The landlady found dirt in his sheets and a worn gold ring on the floor that did not belong to him. 1934, a rooming house in Budapest. A nurse named Ilona Varga reported hearing humming from beneath her cot. The humming, she said, sounded like a hymn she had heard at a wedding as a child. Her room was found empty in November. Clean sheets, dirt on the pillow. 1961, a halfway house in Toronto. The first North American account. A man named Robert Falk told his caseworker that a woman visited him at night. She came from under the cot and lay beside him and held his hand. He said she was cold. He said she smelled like wet earth after a funeral. He said she was the only person who had touched him in 4 years. His caseworker noted that Robert became agitated when asked if the visits frightened him. He said, "She does not frighten me. She is the only one who stays. The others leave. She stays. She has always stayed." Robert Falk disappeared on Christmas Eve, 1961. No investigation was opened. His file was closed with a single note. Patient absconded. No belongings left behind except a pile of soil on his pillow and what appears to be a woman's wedding ring, tarnished, possibly antique, origin unknown. A lonely person, a new home, a hand from under the bed offered palm up, dirt on the pillow. A disappearance that no one investigates because the missing person had no one left to notice they were gone. She does not hunt. She listens. She listens for the particular frequency of loneliness that tells her someone is ready. Let me tell you what I believe is happening. I am a case manager for a Crown prosecutor. I deal in evidence, not belief. But this file has taken me past the edge of what evidence can hold. I believe Erzsébet Váradi did not die in that grave in 1847. I believe she went somewhere else, somewhere underneath. I believe she has been waiting there ever since, moving through the ground the way water moves through limestone. Slowly, patiently, following the foundations of buildings, the undersides of floors, the dark spaces beneath beds where no one looks because we trained ourselves as children not to. She finds people who are alone, not just physically alone, but the kind of alone that has settled into the body like a temperature. The kind of alone where you have stopped expecting anyone to touch you. She listens to them breathe, night after night. She learns the rhythm of their loneliness. And when she knows them well enough, she reaches up, She does not grab. She does not pull. She offers her hand, palm up, the way she offered it at the altar in 1847. She is still a bride. She is still waiting. The ones who scream, she withdraws. She comes back the next night, and the next. But eventually, if they keep screaming, she stops coming. And within a year, those people die. Not violently, not supernaturally. They die the way lonely people die. Quietly, unnoticed, in apartments that smell like dust and stillness. But the ones who reach back, the ones who are lonely enough, broken enough, hungry enough for contact that they will take a dead woman's hand in the dark, those ones go with her. I believe there is a space beneath the ground that is not a grave and not a tunnel and not anything that has a name. I believe the people who take her hand are in that space right now. Hundreds of them, lying in the dark, holding hands, wearing rings that do not belong to them, waiting with her for a groom who drowned in knee-deep water in 1847 and will never come. They do not age. They do not speak. They do not sleep. They just wait. The wedding party grows. In 2019, I received a call from a forensic anthropologist at the University of Toronto. A construction crew working on a foundation excavation had uncovered something 4 meters below the surface. A layer of compacted soil containing organic material inconsistent with the surrounding geology. The material was hair. Human hair. Black, long, and matted. The forensic anthropologist estimated the quantity was consistent with dozens of individuals, perhaps more. The hair was intertwined, woven together in long braids that extended in multiple directions through the soil, as if connecting different locations underground. She told me the hair was remarkably well preserved. She told me that in some strands, she found traces of fabric, red fabric, consistent with ceremonial garments. She told me that wrapped inside one of the braids, nestled like a seed in a pod, was a small gold ring, tarnished black, consistent with Eastern European metalwork from the mid-19th century. The construction project was halted for 2 weeks. When it resumed, the crew reported that the hair was gone. All of it. 4 meters of compacted organic material had vanished overnight. The soil where it had been was loose and damp, as if freshly turned. The foreman's incident report described the smell as being like a church after a funeral. The forensic anthropologist sent the ring to my office by courier. The package arrived. It was signed for by someone whose name did not match any employee in my building. I have never found the ring. When I went back to the anthropologist's lab to request her original samples, she told me the samples were gone. Not misplaced, not contaminated, gone. The chain of custody logs simply stopped, as if the evidence had decided it was finished being examined. I have one final piece of evidence, and then I will close this file. I am closing it not because the investigation is complete, but because I am no longer certain the investigation is safe. 3 weeks ago, I woke up at 3:14 in the morning. I live alone. I have lived alone for 6 years, since my husband moved out and took everything except the bookshelves and the silence. I woke up and I could not move. My arms, my legs, my jaw, everything locked. Sleep paralysis. That is what the medical literature calls it. But the medical literature does not account for what I felt beside my hand. On the sheet, near the edge of the mattress, near the gap between the mattress and the wall, something cold, something that felt like fingers, something that was shaped unmistakably like an open palm. I did not look. I kept my eyes on the ceiling, and I waited until my body unlocked, and then I got up and turned on every light in the apartment and sat at my kitchen table until the sun came up. In the morning, I checked my fingernails. There was dirt under the nail of my left ring finger. Just that one. Dark, damp, cold soil. The kind that comes from below the frost line. I washed it out. It took a long time. I have not slept in that bed since. I sleep on the couch with the lights on, with the television playing something I do not watch. I tell myself it is because the couch is more comfortable. I tell myself the dirt was from the garden. I tell myself that the shape I felt on the sheet was my own hand, curled against the mattress, misinterpreted by a mind that has spent too long reading files like this one. I tell myself a lot of things. I am getting very good at it. But here's what I cannot tell myself, and here's where the file ends. Last Tuesday, I came home from work and went to the bedroom to get a sweater from the closet. I had not been in the bedroom in 19 days. The bed was made. I had not made it. The sheets were pulled tight with hospital corners. On the pillow, in the center, was a small pile of damp black soil. And resting on top of the soil, half buried, was a thin gold ring, tarnished, worn smooth, old. I picked it up. I do not know why. A case manager knows better than to handle evidence with bare hands. But I picked it up and held it, and it was warm. Not cold the way metal is cold. Warm the way skin is warm when someone has been holding something for a long time and waiting for you to take it. I put it back on the pillow. I closed the bedroom door. I have not opened it since. She found me the way she finds all of them. Not through the dark, not through the walls, through the loneliness, through the years of sleeping alone and waking up alone and touching my own face in the bathroom mirror because no one else does. She heard me the way she heard Daniel Chorba and Sandra Falk and Robert Falk and every other name in every other file. She listened to me breathe. She learned my rhythm. And now she is waiting. I have not taken her hand. I want you to know that. I have not taken her hand. But I have not thrown away the ring either. These are the files they could not explain. This is what waits beneath. You have been reading the file of the bride beneath. Check under your fingernails. The dead stopped breathing. They did not stop waiting. So don't walk away quiet. Leave a comment. I read every single one. Like this video so it finds the people who aren't afraid to look. Follow me wherever you listen, and subscribe. That's the one that matters most, because these cases don't stop. They just wait for someone willing to open the file. I'm Kia. See you in the dark.